Hi, this is Dee at Aloha Astro, and today we're going to be taking a look at the new moon energy coming up tomorrow on October 19th. Today is October the 18th. If anybody is wanting to get in touch with me or find me, you can find me here at alohaastro.com. Let's take a look over here, though, at planetwatcher.com, where we can see where the planets are on the 19th. The actual time of the new moon in Eastern time will be 3:12 p.m. I don't see a way to adjust the minutes here, but I've pulled it as close as possible so that we can see the sun and the moon together at 26 degrees. Now this new moon is at 26 degrees 35 minutes of Libra. And we have Jupiter and Mercury close by in the fixed water sign of Scorpio. Libra, by the way, is cardinal air, and cardinal means boss-like. So very often we come to defining moments when we are under the influence of a cardinal moon, where there can be decision-making time, or where we feel that we are right and we have something to say to other people about what is important to us. So as we put on some of our boss-like energy under that new moon, and we're looking at perhaps perfect ways to deal with our relationships or the people in our lives, or attempting to find either compromise or a diplomatic way of being able to relate, we are dealing with the opposition that is occurring over here with the planet Uranus in Aries, and this is kind of a hothead energy. This is cardinal fire. If you have any of your own personal planets in any of these cardinal signs, either of these two, or in cardinal Capricorn, which is not squaring it by degree, but definitely squaring these two by the sign. They're just a little bit outside of being squared by the numbers, but they are by the sign. Then there may be some tension in your life, or you may be dealing with looking at a new beginning or defining the structure of your relationships, attempting to find where you stand within it. How can you honor yourself and maintain your individuality while still honoring the relationship? So that might be some of what comes up, not just for the cardinal signs of Aries, Cancer, Libra, or Capricorn. All of us will be looking toward relationship and how we behave in relationship and what our relationships mean to us while we are under this Libra influence. It is the Libra season still lingering while we have Venus in Libra and the Sun in Libra. We already have Mercury now out ahead of the Sun, and it is in Scorpio, joining Jupiter. Jupiter recently moved out of Libra, where it had been for a while, and now we are starting a new area of growth and expansion under this fixed water sign energy. Scorpio rules the 8th house within the chart. And that has a lot to do with the merging of boundaries and the sharing of assets and resources. The 8th house has a lot to do with money, but not necessarily our immediate money. So it can be money that comes from other people, governmental money, loans, grants, business money, inheritance, investments, money that you might not be able to touch immediately. The 8th house rules things like sex, death, taxes, metaphysics, the occult, business partnerships, investments, inheritances. Basically, everywhere we merge our boundaries and we share our assets. So our attention for everybody, not just individually, but while Mercury and Jupiter are conjunct in that sign of Scorpio, those 8th house overtones are going to be with us no matter what house we actually have these planets transiting. And you can find out more about what your chart looks like and where your houses are over here at my site, Get Your Free Birth Chart. Click on that, enter your data, and you will be able to see your own houses and figure out where you have these transits at this current time. Or you could have a reading with an astrologer and figure out if something's going on for you at this new moon with the current transits that are heavily oriented toward Libra and Scorpio. I expect that people are going to be seeing more money or enjoying more money, or they're going to have to be dealing with 8th house issues where it's about their money and other people's money and how they overlap, or how to get money from other places, or how to invest money. And that will be something that is going on at the same time that we're looking at our relationships. I think that we're also tying up some loose ends as we're looking at Mars in Virgo at 28 degrees. It's coming to the end of its transit through the sign of Virgo, which is a mutable earth sign, and it prioritizes, it discerns, it organizes, and it looks at the function behind things, the needs or the necessities that are associated with something. And Mars is an action planet. So as it is here in Virgo and it's coming to a close, we just have a short time before it goes into Libra in 3.9 days. So tie up your loose ends. If there's anything you've been procrastinating on or anything that needs to be done, I look at the T-square here of Mars opposing Chiron in Pisces, and together Chiron and Mars make a square to Saturn in Sagittarius as something that needs to be done or taken care of in order to get ahead, but maybe it's not necessarily pleasant or what you want to do, but yet it needs to be done. For instance, if we have, let's say, a surgical procedure and we get stitches, nobody really wants to go back to the doctor and have the stitches removed, but you have to do it. And if you want to fix your teeth so they're nice and straight, you have to wear braces, but nobody really enjoys that part where they're wearing the braces. You're growing out your bangs and they look awful, but if you don't want your bangs anymore, they have to grow out. So that's the way this T-square feels to me, as though in order to get ahead or go higher and make something happen toward some higher goal, which is what Saturn in Sagittarius is working toward, there may be something that is necessary to make the process happen, or to heal, something that is healing or maybe cathartic, but might not be entirely pleasant, because a T-square can indicate there is work to be done, or there is something about it that can create some friction or resistance. Still, we have overall some very good aspects in the heavens now, and I feel as though there's a lot of optimism over here. Once Mars, these two planets are technically joining each other right now, or influencing each other, Venus and Mars. However, once Mars catches up and gets into Libra, then we have that combined energy of Venus-Mars. They are male and female indicator planets, and while they are in that Libra season, we may see more focus on relationships in general, perhaps people renewing relationships, since we are looking at a new moon in Libra. So there may be a renewal of relationships for some people. And standing your own ground within it, or adapting to the changes as you seek to find harmony with other people, will be some of the work involved there. We have a quincunx going on as well between this new moon and Chiron in Pisces, and this also should be a favorable influence toward bridging people together, healing of relationships. And for some people, there may be discussion of what's going on in their union or their marriage. This can be a marriage and family-oriented asteroid slash planet. So looking to renew the relationship or improve the relationship would be the focus. And Pluto right now is rather quiet. I like that. when it's involved with, recently over the last few months, we've had some challenging aspects with Pluto, and perhaps we will have a little more peace as we have this peaceful Libra energy, and perhaps it will be on a planetary level as well and a political level that things will quiet down a little bit, and people become more agreeable, or we see less natural disasters as Pluto is less heavily aspected. Running through what's going on here, Venus will enter Libra in 4.5 days. Here are the oppositions that recently occurred. Mercury opposing Uranus. That is already weakening a little bit as Mercury moves forward. The exact opposition was a couple of days ago, and that could have brought unexpected events or news. In the sign of Scorpio, there may have been some crisis or drama around it, perhaps life and death issues, or the seriousness of something, and having to react and respond in the moment. And it would have been at its peak a few days ago, and now that too will subside a bit as Mercury begins to move forward and some of the shock of the moment begins to subside. Let's see what else we've got. Mars opposing Chiron as well. I feel this is a call to action in terms of taking care of needs or taking care of healing. And Mercury entering Scorpio, we went over that. The conjunction of Mercury to Jupiter, this will turn people's attention toward matters of finances and any sharing of joint assets and any business related monies, debts, the collection of debts or the absolving of debts. I would say, since Jupiter is a forgiving planet, if you do have debts or if somebody owes you something, consider forgiveness or consider asking for relief or forgiveness, because Jupiter is a planet of growth and abundance. It is also a planet of forgiveness. So it may help you to get something that you need if you ask for it. And in turn, if you have people that perhaps you have been holding accountable for something, whether it's financial or otherwise, or somebody that you have been thinking about negatively or holding any type of a grudge, this is a very good time to examine your thoughts and clear the air, because who is it hurting if you're carrying that around? It's really not hurting the other person. They're not aware of what you're thinking at that given time. Let it go. It's a good time for release of things that are not to your benefit. It is also a good time to look at how you can invest in things that would be to your benefit. So take an account of what you have in your bank, and not just your own bank account and your business bank account, but what you have in your spiritual bank, and how you can increase it, improve it, and explore your options for more spiritual growth, or the merging that we do with people on more of a spiritual level. Compassion in the 8th house, or the Scorpio energy, we empathize, sympathize with somebody else, and we can easily put ourselves in their shoes or feel what it is to be them. And that is something that, while we have Mercury conjunct Jupiter, perhaps people will be more aware of what it is to be another person, and that might help for greater compromise and harmony and diplomacy in our worldly affairs and our community around us and in our political climate. So I feel that this is a very hopeful new moon, and many blessings And I will talk to you all soon when we look at the full moon coming up in November.